PSA graded return number 1 of 15. Don't know how long it's going to take us to get through this, but let us find out together. But first, as we always do, let's roll that intro. Hey Gengar gang, what is going on? My name is Ryan, this is the Analytic Gengar, and welcome to another video. In today's video, friends, we start the ever tempting effort of going through my most recent PSA graded submission. Here is the video that you should be going to check out should you want to learn a little bit more about the submission at large. I have gone as far as to call it the most, or one of, the last PSA graded returns of its kind, and I claim that because it was submitted before Logan Paul entered the hobby. It was submitted before prices spiked in 2020, and it's back now, and you can really see the price increases and the insane value appreciation PSA has gone through over X amount of months. So it's absolutely crazy to see these cards finally come back. I'm very excited because they also took about a calendar year to get back to me. They were shipped in early September of 2020. They came back in October of 2021. So finally, but not least, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, of course, if you like today's video, you like PSA graded returns, stick around, feel free to leave a like on the video, and hey, ring that bell and subscribe to the Gengar Gang in order to join our happy little community. But without further ado, the first of what is probably going to be a very long stream of PSA graded returns. Now, I did say I won't be guessing grades, but I guess we're going to start off with a banger-ooskies. Here is a 1999 Charizard Shadowless. So this is one of the cards that, not going to lie, I probably put very much in the front of, priority when it came to this submission. Obviously, a very popular card. You can tell it's shadowless because it does not have the shadow border right there. That is the main reason why these cards are considered shadowless, one of the many different varieties. Now, this card ended up getting busted up edges all the way around. I distinctly remember this card not necessarily being in the best of shape, so the hope was that it would pull a 4 or a 5, and I mean, hey, it did. Next up is a Ninetales. So if I'm remembering this correctly, the majority of this submission, or at least the very first box in the submission, should be base set cards. And you can see that right here with another classic, the Ninetales Holo. One little fun fact for anybody who cares, you can see that Fire Spin and Fire Blast are the two attacks at the bottom of these two cards. But what's actually pretty funny is that whenever you're opening these cards, if you're pulling them, in YouTuber fashion where you pull one card up, it's actually pretty funny because a lot of people see the 4 energies and they start freaking out because the attacks are similar, the color of the card is similar because they're both fire type. So it can be actually very awkward when people think they pulled a Charizard only to find out they pulled a Ninetales. Next up is a Venusaur. So here we are with another beautiful classic card. This is no longer a shadowless, so the Charizard was the only shadowless. As you can see, here is the shadow on the border of the card. No first edition either. These are just good old-fashioned base set Pokemon cards. But I really liked the idea of submitting something that was so, varied, which I thought was pretty neat. And then, I mean, yeah, sure, let's just jump right ahead. This is one of the things that I noticed about this particular PSA graded return. PSA kind of did me dirty in as much as they really kind of jambled up my my ordering. For many people who know or have watched a little bit of my videos, one of the things that I take a lot of pride in is organizing the submission. And by doing that, I hope there's a sort of, logical grouping to things. So I might put all the base set cards together, all the legendary collection cards together, etc., etc. So one of the things that I noted in that video that I called out a bit earlier is that I would likely have to go through and try to put these cards in as decent an order as possible. And here's my attempt. And even then, you can see within any particular random box, there are some cards that kind of jumped around from point to point. So yeah, just a good old example. Here is a legendary collection Articuno. So in case no one knows, the legendary collection set was effectively sort of like a throwback set. It really did capture cards from basically every set that had come before it, so Fossil, Jungle, Base, And they obviously introduced the reverse holos, so that's a big thing that they did, like this one on screen right here, a PSA 9 Legendary Collection Alakazam. Super, super crazy card. A lot of people think or thought these cards were actually fake because they just look so tacky, but they have become some of the craziest cards, and that firework is what they're calling it because you can see it kind of fireworking right there. That is one of the main reasons why people have come to like these cards. So something that originally was tacky has, jokes on us, aged pretty well. What's great about Legendary Collections, though, is that in addition to the reverse holos, there are also regular holos, and many of them are reprints like the base set Charizard, the Articuno from Fossil, etc., etc. Here, we have a base set Zapdos. Zapdos was interesting because if I'm remembering it correctly, Zapdos was a holo in base set, but what's weird is that Articuno and Moltres wouldn't get featured until later on, so they took effectively one of the legendary birds and went ahead and printed it. The other two basically got the short end of the stick there. Here's a Raichu holo, PSA 9, so not a bad grade at all. Raichu is one of the less popular. Obviously, when you're going up against Charizard, Venusaur, and Blastoise, and Mewtwo, it can be tough. Probably the least popular, however, is of course the one that I got graded a Gem Mint 10. So here is a Poliwrath Gem Mint 10. Really a fan of this old school sort of, I call it twinkle background or holographic pattern. And obviously Pokemon has played around with the overall, holographic pattern and how they've worked it. Over the years, we've seen everything from like a wavy pattern to a non-wavy pattern. Here's a PSA 9 Nidoking base set. Really good looking card. But I like, sometimes looking at the older holographics, it's really nice. Here is a card that I definitely know I got upcharged on, a 1999 Pokemon game Mewtwo holo, and look at how gorgeous that is. Now, what's insane about this is that many people may not realize the impressiveness of getting a PSA 10 on something like this, but I will say I purchased many of these cards as part of a bulk lot. So the sheer fact that for one reason or the other I was able to pull off any 10s is actually hilarious to me. Here is a Mint 9 version of that card, so I'm happy that I have two. Now personally, I am not the biggest fan of these cards, although it's fun to look back at them, and obviously there's tons of nostalgia. Many people who are fans of the channel know that I actually specialize in and am truly a fan of the EX era of Pokemon. So for me, much of this is less about, wanting to have these cards because I have any kind of emotional connection to them. Mainly they're just here because they're cool cards, and obviously there's tons of demand for them, which is pretty neat. Here is a Machamp. This is the first edition. Weird thing about this is that it was given away as a promo in a deck, if I'm remembering it correctly. So what's weird about this is that although it's a first edition card, it's not as valuable as other first edition cards that would have graded a PSA 9, and the main reason for that is because it was a promo card effectively. Here is a Gyarados that got graded a Gem Mint 10. So this is another card I know for a fact I got upcharged on. Really one of the classic artworks, especially in my opinion. I'm a big fan of water type Pokemon cards. I think the blue that they have used throughout the years is really stands out very well, and this Gyarados just has like a really classic OG artwork. Obviously Gyarados and Charizard and Dragonite, I'll put the three of them together, are really the first three quote-unquote dragon Pokemon, even though Gyarados never got the treatment until Mega Evolutions, Charizard the same, and Dragonite was normal typing, in the games at least, up until the Dragon type was introduced in Generation 3. Here is a Clefairy, one of the lesser known and lesser appreciated cards, but I think any of these cards are really neat because there's just, tons of history behind them. It's also insane to see that almost mirror-like holographic finish. Definitely has quite a bit of places to get scratched, and to that extent, here's a Chansey. Now, the Chansey and the Clefairy basically function the same way, in as much as they're normal type Pokemon cards with a pretty extensive amount of holographic. This one did not fare as well, and I can tell you there are a bunch of scratches on the holographic right here, which is primarily the reason why I bet this card got the grade that it did. If I flip it around on the back, yeah, as you can see, there's not really much going on the back that you would think justifies the grade it got, so it's primarily that holographic pattern. And if anyone is interested in grading something like a base set card, that's likely going to be your greatest challenge, is the holographic pattern. Here is a PSA 8 Blastoise, another card. So in case anyone's keeping track, I do have the Venusaur and the Blastoise now as base set unlimited print PSA graded cards. However, I don't have a regular Charizard up till now in this return, and the reason for that is because the one Charizard that I was able to get in the lot, I believe if I'm remembering it correctly, was the Shadowless Charizard that I showed you at the very beginning of this video. Finally but not least is, ironically enough, the #1 card from base set, and that is not me saying anything, that is literally the ordering of the card itself for the set. One of 102 cards in the original base set. It is the Alakazam holographic card. It got a PSA 9, and I mean, hey, another classic card. Looking at many of these cards, you can immediately feel the nostalgia that is associated with many of them. I mean, I haven't even opened many base set packs in my life from my childhood, but there's just something about looking at these old-timey cards that really kind of drives the point home. And fun fact, most of these cards, if not all of them, are at a minimum 20 years old or more. So just an old school trip blast from the past. This is nostalgia, ladies and gentlemen. But with all that said, friends, thanks again for checking out another video. That concludes our PSA graded return for today. I mean, hey, more where this came from, so definitely feel free to let me know your thoughts. Do you have a favorite card that you saw today? Let me know down below in the comments. And other than that, don't forget to leave a like on the video. And hey, you're already here. If you enjoyed today's content, definitely feel free to subscribe to the Gengar Gang to join our happy little community. But other than that, friends, thank you again for checking out another video. Thanks for stopping by and for providing my channel with a little bit of your viewership. And as always, we will talk soon. Peace.